In this video, we're going to show you a few of the new workflow enhancements we have put into this version of Vertex. First and foremost, we have optimized the way you can import content into the software. So for example, if I go to Content, jump to Import Directory, I can now choose a complete directory with subfolders. For example, here my exercise playlist, and then I have 3 subfolders. I can go ahead, press enter, and now you can see it's going to import all of the content in these subfolders, but it's also going to keep the folder structure as collections in here. So now I can actually navigate through these collections, pretty much a filtering option, to look at the content of the individual subfolders which I've imported into the software. So that works everywhere inside your file system, pretty useful. The next notable feature is that you can now create group and instances of clips on your timeline. For example, if I bring on a bunch of clips onto my timeline, let's take these 3, I can now select the 3, do a right click, and I can now say link selected items. As soon as I have linked these, when I select one of them, all 3 are selected and I can move them around as a group, so to speak. You can also create instances of clips. So if you bring in a clip onto your timeline, I'm just going to zoom in a bit using control and the middle mouse wheel. I can now do a right click on my clip container and select create clip container instance, which will give me a instance, a clone, so to speak, of this clip container. Also here you can see it has a bit of a different color. So if I go ahead and I move the original clip, let's say to the left side, and I look at my instance, it will also be on the left side. But now if I move my instance over, let's say even a bit further, my original clip will also be moved over a bit further. So these two are now an instance of each other. Any change you do to one clip container will also affect the other one. In the navigation part of Vertex, we have a few big changes as well. If I add a clip here to my timeline, I can now navigate the render editor using the tools we have had in the past, which you can move around using the central mouse wheel button, and then I can use the Alt key and the central mouse key button to do a kind of a look around. We now have a few different ways you can navigate the render editor as well. For example, you can press the 1 key on your keyboard, keep it pressed, and use the left mouse button to move your camera. You can use the key number 2 and the left mouse button to move backwards and forwards, and you can use the key number 3 and the left mouse button to orbit around the selected object. Also, you can use the ASW-D combination, very common from gaming. So an A, press on the key number A will move to the left, press on the key number S will move backwards, press on key number D will move to the right. The usual you may know from many gaming applications. Also, we have added a standard and advanced filtering mode inside of Vertex. As Vertex is a very powerful system and features a huge amount of properties you can actually choose and change to manipulate, it is very ideal to have a filtering to make it a bit easier to navigate in everyday situations which you maybe don't need that much control. So for example, if I go into my clip container here and I open my settings, I will get the settings I most commonly need for this clip container. But I can now switch to the advanced mode down here, and it will open up some advanced settings. For example, where I could add a start and stop script or do some UV resizing, which in the standard mode is hidden, so it doesn't clutter your interface too much. On top of that, to find features you might not be needing every day, we have added a search function to the inspector. For example, if I click on System, and I know I want to have a functionality which is regarding full screen, I can type in full screen in the top right hand corner, press enter, and it will filter out all of the elements which are related to full screen. And as soon as I hover over these elements, it gives me a small text box which explains what this function will actually do.